From landscapes shaped by forces we can't fully explain to formations that feel like they belong to an alien world, our planet is filled with mysteries. So here are 15 of the most awe-inspiring landforms that continue to captivate and challenge us. And stick around until the end, because at number 1, we're exploring a mystery so bizarre it just might blow your mind. Vulcan Point, Philippines. Some geological formations defy all expectations, and Vulcan Point is undoubtedly one of them. Why? Because Vulcan Point is a volcanic island in a lake, which itself is on another island, in yet another lake, and on yet another island. The layers of complexity here are astonishing, but what makes Vulcan Point truly remarkable is that it exists within one of the most active volcanoes in the Philippines. The story begins with Taal Lake, a vast body of water filling a colossal caldera left behind by a prehistoric eruption. Within this lake sits Volcano Island, a smaller but still imposing landmass containing its own crater lake. And within this crater lake lies Vulcan Point, a defiant volcanic island that has withstood centuries of eruptions, ash clouds, and fiery tempests. In 2020, Taal erupted again, spewing ash miles into the sky and causing widespread devastation. Vegetation on Vulcan Point was scorched, and the surrounding crater lake dried up, leaving the island exposed. Yet when the dust settled, Vulcan Point was still there, a silent witness to the fury of the earth. Over time, the lake's waters returned, and new vegetation began to creep back, almost as if nothing had happened. Mount Thor, Canada. Mount Thor is a force of nature. Rising from the rugged terrain of Baffin Island in Canada's Arctic, this granite giant holds a record that few mountains can claim: the world's greatest vertical drop. Its western face plunges a jaw-dropping 4,100 feet, 1,250 meters, and its unique overhang, slanting at 105 degrees, challenges even the boldest adventurers. What makes Mount Thor even more remarkable is its remote location. Located in the icy expanse of Auyuituk National Park, the mountain is surrounded by an untouched Arctic wilderness that feels frozen in time. Brutal weather conditions, with temperatures plummeting well below freezing, add to the mountain's mystique. For climbers, Mount Thor is a proving ground. Since the first successful ascent in 1985, only a few have managed to overcome its near-vertical face in the unforgiving Arctic elements. It's a place that tests not just skill, but sheer determination. The 12 Apostles, Australia. Off Australia's Great Ocean Road, the 12 Apostles rise from the churning waters of the Southern Ocean. These towering limestone pillars, carved by relentless waves and fierce winds, stand as a testament to nature's power and artistry. Despite their name, there were never actually 12 stacks. At their peak, only 9 existed, and today, just 8 remain. One collapsed into the ocean in 2005, a reminder of how impermanent even the most massive structures can be. These formations began as part of the mainland, slowly shaped by the elements. Over millennia, erosion hollowed out caves, which then became arches until only these freestanding columns were left behind. What makes the 12 Apostles truly mesmerizing is how they transform with the changing light and weather. At sunrise and sunset, they glow in hues of gold and orange, creating a scene of almost surreal beauty. But when storms rage, the ocean slams against their bases, wrapping them in mist and spray, turning the calm landscape into one of raw, untamed energy. The Devil's Tower National Monument, Wyoming. Rising 867 feet above the plains of northeastern Wyoming, Devil's Tower striking form looms over the landscape, a solitary giant unlike anything else in the region. In 1906, it earned its place in history as the first U.S. national monument, designated by President Theodore Roosevelt. The name Devil's Tower was coined in 1875 during an expedition, likely the result of a mistranslation of indigenous names. For centuries, the native peoples of the area referred to it by titles such as Bear's Lodge, Tree Rock, or Brown Buffalo Horn. To them, this formation held sacred meaning, woven into their cultural and spiritual identity. But its origin remains one of geology's most captivating mysteries. The prevailing theory suggests that Devil's Tower is the hardened core of an ancient volcanic intrusion, revealed as softer surrounding rocks eroded over time. Yet this theory has gaps. No evidence of volcanic activity exists nearby, raising questions about how such a monumental structure could have formed in this otherwise flat region. What adds to its mystique is the tower's striking appearance. Its sheer walls are composed of hexagonal columns, forming natural grooves that seem almost deliberate, as though chiseled by some ancient, otherworldly hand. While this jointing is a natural result of cooling magma, its precision feels anything but random. Stories from the Lakota Sioux lend a mythical dimension to the monument. According to their lore, the grooves were left by the claws of a giant bear, enraged as it tried to reach a group of girls lifted to safety by the Great Spirit. The tower rose from the earth to protect them, standing as a guardian in the landscape. Without a definitive scientific explanation, the line between myth and reality blurs, leaving room for wonder. Khandy Lake, Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan's Tian Shan Mountains lies a lake unlike any other. Khandy Lake, a submerged forest frozen in time. Formed in 1911 after a massive limestone landslide created a natural dam, this 2,300-foot-long lake offers a surreal glimpse into nature's unpredictability. Khandy Lake's waters shimmer in vibrant shades of blue and green, their hue constantly shifting with the minerals they carry. Beneath the surface lies a world that feels almost otherworldly. Submerged tree trunks, preserved by the lake's cold waters, stand like ghostly sentinels, their tops poking through the surface. Remarkably, these trees have not only avoided decay, but have become a foundation for algae and aquatic plants, creating an underwater forest that continues to thrive. Reaching this remote marvel is a journey in itself. Located over 6,000 feet above sea level, far from any city, Khandy Lake rewards visitors with an experience that feels untouched by time. Its crystal-clear waters allow a mesmerizing view of the forest below, where life continues to flourish in this accidental yet stunning masterpiece of nature. Hákarlur Geothermal Field, Iceland. Situated along the famous Golden Circle route, this geothermal hotspot is home to some of Iceland's most awe-inspiring geysers and hot springs. Among them, Strákur stands out, erupting every few minutes like clockwork, sending jets of boiling water high into the sky. But this area holds a special claim to fame. It's the namesake of all geysers worldwide, thanks to the legendary geyser. Although Geyser is now largely dormant, its past is nothing short of extraordinary. When active, it could hurl water 230 feet into the air, but its behavior has always been unpredictable, often lying silent for decades before roaring back to life. Earthquakes in the region sometimes reawaken Geyser, but the exact triggers remain a mystery. Hákarlur isn't just about geysers. The bubbling mud pools, steaming vents, and sulfur-rich soil give the area an almost alien quality. The constant churning of the mud creates eerie gurgling sounds, as if the earth itself is whispering secrets from deep below. Despite advancements in geology, this field retains a sense of the unknown, a feeling that something more ancient and enigmatic is at work beneath the surface. Socotra, Yemen. Socotra is unlike any place on Earth. This isolated archipelago off the coast of Yemen, in the Arabian Sea, boasts landscapes so surreal they seem pulled from a dream or another planet. Spanning 1,400 square miles, its biodiversity is a testament to millions of years of evolution, untouched by the outside world. The island's most iconic feature is the dragon's blood tree, a bizarre plant with an umbrella-shaped canopy and branches that seem to defy gravity. Its crimson sap, said to have medicinal and mystical properties, has fueled legends of ancient rituals and even tales of giants who once roamed the island. Another standout is the desert rose, a tree with a bulbous trunk that swells to store water, shrinking as it's used up, a clever adaptation to Socotra's arid climate. Out of the island's 825 plant species, more than a third exist nowhere else on Earth. They're twisted, bulbous, and otherworldly, as if sculpted by an alien hand. The island's animal life is just as unique. While large predators are absent, Socotra is home to vibrant birds like the Socotra sunbird and the endemic Socotra cormorant. Reptiles, including geckos and skinks, add to the list of species found nowhere else. Mount Kailash in Tibet. In the age of exploration, When the world's tallest peaks were finally conquered, one mountain remained untouched, Mount Kailash. Rising to 21,000 feet in the remote reaches of western Tibet, it's not the highest or most technically challenging, yet no human has ever stood on its summit. Why? The answer lies in its unparalleled spiritual significance. Mount Kailash is considered sacred by multiple religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon. It's revered as the spiritual center of the universe, a place where the divine connects with the mortal world. Its iconic pyramid-like shape stands isolated among the rugged Tibetan landscape, making it appear more like a monument than a natural formation. The geography surrounding it only adds to its mystique. The Indus and Brahmaputra rivers, as well as the Sutlej and Karnali, a major tributary of the Ganges, all originate near this mountain. This convergence of vital water sources has led many to call Kailash the navel of the world, a life-giving force for millions. Unlike Everest or K2, Mount Kailash hasn't been climbed, not because it's impossible, but because it's forbidden. Both the local people and the Chinese government have prohibited any attempts out of respect for its sanctity. Legends warn of dire consequences for anyone who dares. Locals believe the summit is the dwelling place of deities, a realm humans were never meant to enter. The Moaraki Boulders in New Zealand. On Koikohe Beach, along the Otago coast of New Zealand's South Island, lies a scene that seems straight out of a fantasy. Massive, nearly perfect spherical boulders are scattered across the sand, some measuring over 6 feet wide. Known as the Moaraki Boulders, they're one of New Zealand's most peculiar natural wonders. Geologists classify these formations as septarian concretions, formed around 60 million years ago on the ocean floor. They began as mineral deposits, like calcite, slowly accumulating around a core, much like how a pearl forms in an oyster. Over millions of years, layers compressed into these enormous, round structures. Some of the boulders have cracked open, revealing stunning honeycomb-like patterns inside, where minerals crystallized into intricate geometric designs. But even with this scientific explanation, the Moaraki boulders hold an air of mystery. Their size, symmetry, and random distribution across the beach make them look almost deliberate, as if placed there by some ancient hand. Similar formations exist in other parts of the world, like North America and Costa Rica, but none match the scale or uniformity of the Moaraki boulders. For the Maori people, the boulders carry a deeper meaning. According to legend, they are remnants of calabashes, eel baskets, and gourds from the wreckage of the Araturu, a great ancestral canoe that washed ashore centuries ago. The nearby cliffs, they say, are the petrified remains of the canoe itself. This story links the boulders to a spiritual journey, a connection to ancestors, and a reminder of the past. The Dangxia Landform, China. China's vast landscape is home to countless natural wonders, but few are as mesmerizing or as puzzling as the Dangxia Landform. Found primarily in Gansu, Guangdong, and Hunan provinces, this geological marvel features stunning red sandstone cliffs and undulating formations that stretch across the terrain like fiery waves. The most famous example, located in Gansu's Zhangye Dangxia National Geopark, is often referred to as the Rainbow Mountains for its vivid stripes of red, orange, yellow, and green. These brilliant colors are caused by mineral deposits, particularly iron oxide, embedded in the rock layers. Yet while geologists understand the basic processes behind the coloring, the conditions that created such vibrant hues concentrated in specific areas remain a mystery. What's more, the Dangxia landscape isn't just about its colors, it's the surreal shapes that truly boggle the mind. Towering peaks, sharp ridges, and deep gorges give the landform an otherworldly quality, as though it was sculpted by forces beyond nature. This strange terrain has long been linked to the divine. Temples and shrines built into the cliffs over centuries suggest that ancient civilizations viewed this place as sacred. Some formations even resemble castles, animals, or human figures, inspiring countless myths of gods and mythical creatures. The Mount Erebus Ice Towers, Antarctica. Antarctica is a land of extremes, a frozen wilderness of biting cold, endless ice, and relentless winds. Yet amidst this harsh landscape lies something truly extraordinary: the ice towers of Mount Erebus. Perched on Ross Island, Mount Erebus is the southernmost active volcano on Earth, and its summit is guarded by these eerie, otherworldly structures. These towers are no ordinary formations. They're hollow spires of ice, some reaching heights of 60 feet, created by the volcano's geothermal activity. Beneath the ice and snow that cover the upper slopes of Erebus, volcanic steam escapes through fissures, venting into the freezing Antarctic air. As the steam rises and cools, it freezes into intricate chimneys of ice. Over time, layer upon layer builds up, forming these strange, towering monuments. But their mystery doesn't end with their appearance. Inside, the towers are alive with activity, constantly releasing steam that condenses and freezes into new ice. Sunlight filtering through the thick walls creates an ethereal blue glow, making the hollow interiors feel like something from another planet. Mount Erebus itself is a constant source of fascination. With its bubbling lava lake, the only one of its kind in Antarctica, it provides a rare combination of fire and ice. Early studies of the mountain have even uncovered extremophiles, microorganisms thriving in the cracks and crevices of this inhospitable environment. These tiny life forms could hold the key to understanding how life might exist on other worlds, such as Mars or the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn. However, reaching the ice towers is no easy task. The region's isolation, combined with the dangers of an active volcano, makes research here a logistical and physical challenge. But those who have made the journey describe the experience as surreal, where the silence of the Antarctic wilderness is broken only by the hissing steam, and the stark contrast of pristine white ice against the dark volcanic rock creates a setting like no other. The Giant's Causeway, Ireland. The Giant's Causeway, with its roughly 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, seems far too geometric and orderly to have been shaped by nature alone. These columns, most of which are perfectly hexagonal, create a massive, stepped pathway that stretches into the wild waters of the North Atlantic. What's even more intriguing is how the stones shift in appearance depending on the light. Under the midday sky, they're a deep gray, but during sunset, they glow in golden and reddish hues, adding to their mystique. Scientists explain this incredible phenomenon as the result of volcanic activity around 50 million years ago. As lava cooled, it cracked into these precise shapes. But even with a geological explanation, the perfection and scale of the causeway remain astonishing. Over time, its surreal beauty has given rise to tales that go far beyond science. According to Irish legend, the causeway was crafted by a giant named Finn McCool, who intended to use it as a bridge to Scotland to challenge his rival, the massive Benandonor. But when Finn saw just how colossal his adversary was, he retreated to Ireland. Finn's clever wife disguised him as a baby, and when Benandonor saw the child, he assumed the father must be even more enormous. Terrified, he fled back to Scotland, tearing up the bridge behind him. Mount Roraima, South America. Straddling the borders of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana, Mount Roraima rises like a fortress out of the dense South American jungle. Its flat summit, perched at 9,219 feet above sea level, is one of Earth's oldest geological formations, a remnant of the ancient Guiana Shield. Covering roughly 12 square miles, this remote plateau has been isolated from the rest of the world for millions of years, creating an ecosystem unlike any other. The top of Mount Roraima feels otherworldly. Unique plants like the carnivorous Roraima pitcher plant thrive here, along with peculiar frogs and other creatures that exist nowhere else on Earth. The cliffs surrounding the mountain rise vertically for hundreds of feet, making the summit almost impenetrable, as if nature itself is guarding its secrets. Rain and wind have sculpted the rocks into bizarre, almost alien shapes, some resembling ancient statues or ruins. Early explorers once believed they had stumbled upon evidence of a lost civilization. To the indigenous Pimon and Kapan tribes, Mount Roraima is far more than a natural wonder. It's sacred ground. Their legends speak of the mountain as the stump of a colossal tree that once held all the world's fruits and vegetables. According to their lore, an ancestor cut the tree down, unleashing a great flood and leaving Roraima behind as the only refuge. Deadvlay, Namibia. In the heart of Namibia's Namib National Park lies a place so surreal it seems like a scene from another world. Dedvlei, an ancient clay pan surrounded by towering red sand dunes, is a hauntingly beautiful reminder of nature's extremes. The name Dedvlei means dead marsh, an apt description of a landscape that feels frozen in time. Scattered across the cracked white clay are the skeletal remains of camelthorn trees, their blackened trunks standing in stark contrast to the vibrant dunes. These trees, estimated to be around 900 years old, are perfectly preserved, not by life, but by the harsh desert climate. The air is so dry and the environment so barren that even microorganisms can't decompose the wood. But Dedvlei wasn't always this lifeless. Centuries ago, it was an oasis fed by the Salkab River, a rare lifeline in the arid desert. Shifting sand dunes eventually choked off the river's flow, leaving the clay pan to bake under the relentless sun. The result is a place that feels eerily still, yet impossibly vibrant. The dunes themselves, some nearly 1,000 feet tall, are among the highest in the world. Their fiery red and orange hues, the result of oxidized iron in the sand, make Dedvlei one of the most striking and mysterious landscapes on Earth. The island of Bermeja, Mexico. In a world mapped by satellites and sonar, the idea of a missing island seems like something out of a storybook. Yet the case of Bermeja, an island once confidently charted off Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, remains one of cartography's greatest enigmas. First recorded on Spanish maps in the 16th century, Bermeja was described as a small reddish landmass about 100 nautical miles from the Yucatan coast. For centuries, its existence was unquestioned, appearing on countless maps and becoming part of the region's geographic identity. But in the late 20th century, when the Gulf of Mexico's valuable oil reserves came under negotiation, Bermeja's fate became crucial. Under international law, the island would have extended Mexico's maritime boundaries, granting it greater access to the oil-rich area known as the Donut Hole. In the 1990s, expeditions armed with the latest technology were launched to locate Bermeja. Sonar scans, satellite imagery, and surveys were all deployed. But the island was nowhere to be found. It wasn't underwater, eroded, or hidden by shifting tides. It simply wasn't there. Theories about Bermeja's disappearance range from plausible to wild. Some suggest it may have been a phantom island, a cartographer's error repeated across centuries of maps. Others believe rising sea levels or natural erosion could have wiped it away, though this doesn't explain the absence of any underwater remains. Then there's the conspiracy theory that Bermeja was deliberately destroyed, perhaps even by the United States, to weaken Mexico's territorial claims. While there's no evidence to support such claims, the mystery of Bermeja has fueled endless speculation. So even in the age of precision mapping, some mysteries refuse to be solved. Thanks for exploring these incredible places with us today. If you enjoyed this journey into the world's strangest and most mysterious landscapes, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.